Jane Austen is one of the greatest novelists who ever lived.
And every year it seems she becomes more and more popular. Her ability to observe human nature was unparalleled.
People still relate to the way she takes young women seriously. She was very unusual at the time for doing that.
Women authors not signing their names to novels was very common. Moving away from that anonymity, I think we're in a really special place where we can celebrate these voices. I think we often think of Austen as writing 6 novels that are about romance. And that's true to a certain degree. Beyond that, though, she was fixated on things like politics, economics, even really what was happening in the world in terms of wars, slavery. She was really focused on the character of an individual, what women during this period, who were limited in so many ways, could really gain out of a relationship in a good marriage. So even in these very subtle ways, Austen was bringing a lot of big discussions into the drawing rooms.
She was interested in why people make mistakes. She's interested in how people delude themselves. The last thing she wanted to do was create characters who seemed to be perfect, ideal characters. She's one of those authors that your interest in her changes at different stages of your life. There's always something new to find.
Emma is one of the best examples of a realist novel that we have. Emma, who is regarded as a very difficult-to-love heroine because she is so snarky. She's not afraid to speak her mind.
She's handsome, clever, and rich. She's apparently got all these blessings, and yet she's terribly restricted by her class and by her situation. She can't mix with people she might want to. And this is partly why her love stories have so much power, because we never feel the characters are being idealised. We really relate to them as real people. This edition of Emma, which was sent to Mariah Edgeworth, who was at that time a kind of better-known novelist than Jane Austen, is absolutely extraordinary.
It's the first edition of Emma, and it's the only copy we know of that Jane Austen sent of any of her novels to another author. And she sent it to another woman author, a peer, somebody that she was a deep fan of. This is sort of the unicorn of Austen collecting. We're just absolutely thrilled that it exists and that we get to have it come through the auction rooms again. It's difficult to think of another author who's been adapted in the manner that she has. Even somebody like Shakespeare or Dickens, these other literary giants.
I'm currently the series historical consultant for the new Netflix adaptation of Pride and Prejudice. I think we always need a new Pride and Prejudice. We're very fortunate because we've always got the original Pride and Prejudice to go back to. But I think new interpretations are always valuable. Sometimes we have quite imaginative spins.
Things like Clueless as well in Bridget Jones's Diary that are a very fantastic example of just how modern Austen remains.
I think Jane Austen would have been quite happy with her fame. She would have thought a lot of social media was really funny. It'd be interesting to know whether she'd have been tweeting.
Jane Austen would have loved social media. Just imagine if she had access to Zillow and could freely see inside other people's homes. She loved gossip. She loved supporting her friends. I think if Jane Austen were around today, she would be hugely fun.
Her novels were not published in her own name. The first one was published as By a Lady, and then after that it was by the author of Sense and Sensibility, by the author of Pride and Prejudice.
In her letters, of which very few exist, we get to see another side of Jane Austen.
Austen's observing people all the time, but she's quite self-effacing and she's very elusive.
We see an unguarded version of Jane, in which she's able to be more emotive, more vulnerable, and to talk about things like economics, financial instability, love, in a way that maybe would not have appeared across her 6 novels. This is an example of how she signed things sometimes, so it's just J.A., we don't have her full name. To have something that's initialed and just in Austen's hand is really wonderfully rare. Here we have a manuscript poem by Jane Austen. Having her sign it in full was quite unusual. What I really love about it is also on the backside, we have her sister Cassandra's handwriting, and we have her signature, C. Austen, at the bottom. I think she was just much more human than people gave her credit for. I think we love Jane Austen because she's like all of us. So she worries about her appearance, people taking her seriously.
She can make you laugh at someone and at the same time feel incredibly sympathetic towards them. She's got a great eye for people, their absurdities, but at the same time, she is kind.
Every year that goes by, Jane Austen is more and more relevant. From her humor to her keen insight into human nature, she is a spectacular writer who's able to summarize character and scenarios in a really genius way.